Hello class, this is Demetrius Wilson. This is chapter 15, distributing products. We only have chapter 15 and 16 left to go. Learning objectives for this chapter are: explain the concept of marketing channels and their value, demonstrate how intermediaries perform the 6 marketing utilities, identify the types of wholesale intermediaries in the distribution system, compare the distribution strategies retailers use, explain the various kinds of non-store retailing, explain the various ways to build cooperation in channel systems, and describe logistics and outline how intermediaries manage the transportation and storage of goods. A lot of these things go on that you don't necessarily see going on behind the scenes. You do have to pay close attention to this chapter because there are some terms in there that may be unfamiliar, but after you peruse through the chapter, watch the video, they should be very familiar to you. Be sure to read the headline story, CEO of Netflix, about Reed Hastings. We talked about Reed Hastings before. Very, very great story in terms of what they've done and what they continue to do in the marketplace. Marketing intermediaries. Organizations that assist in moving goods and services from producers to businesses, business to business. Anytime you see B2B, that means business to business, and from businesses to consumers. So B2C is business to consumers, right? So target to you. Business to business is I'm taking, I sell Bubblicious and then I'm selling it to Target, right? So that's business to business because I have a business and it goes to their business. Business to consumer is directly to the end user. A channel of distribution, a whole set of marketing intermediaries such as agents, brokers, wholesalers, and retailers that join together to transport the store goods in their path or channel, as they say, the channel distribution for producers to consumers, right? So it's kind of where everything starts and then where everything ends. What goes from production and then it goes to to these wholesalers, gets to the retailer sells it to consumer. So it takes you through the entire process. Agents and brokers. California is very broker and agent centric. So you may go to other states, you may not see that as much, but definitely, I worked in the insurance industry, very broker centric. Marketing intermediaries who bring buyers and sellers together and assist in negotiating exchange, but don't take title to the goods. So, for instance, if you go to your company and you guys have like a fair where they have 24-hour fitness, Costco, all kind of different things from gym memberships, credit unions, stuff like that, and everybody's there. That's probably put together by a broker, and a broker negotiates the best deal. And what's good about a broker for those companies because they're gonna broker a deal to have them able to, like, say if I'm 24-hour fitness, I would go to all of their clients for all of their different benefit fairs. So those are some of the main things that a broker would actually facilitate or broker in order to happen. I want you to make sure that you read Answer May Be Blowing in the Wind. I'm sure if you guys have been to Palm Springs, you've seen those windmills and some of the big gust of wind that goes through there. Obviously they utilize that to their advantage to say, okay, we're going to turn this into some energy, just like California, Nevada, and Arizona. You see so many solar panels because we have sunshine all the time, and we're going to use those solar panels and that sun to our advantage. A wholesaler is a marketing intermediary that sells to other organizations, right? So I just sell to other organizations. I don't sell directly to the consumer. I just sell to other organizations and they go ahead and sell things. Like, so you see a lot of these companies that you may buy things from, but they don't have their own brand. Like you don't see Macy's brand, right? You see Donald Trump ties and you see Sean John clothing and all these different things in Macy's, but you don't see Macy's brand. A retailer is an organization that sells to the ultimate consumer, and the ultimate consumer is me and you if we're buying something for those purposes. So if I'm buying a shirt to wear to work, then I am the ultimate consumer. I want you guys to review this selected channels of distribution for consumer and industrial goods and services. You'll review that one on your own, but review it carefully. It's a great diagram that they put together to kind of show you how things actually flow and how they get to the, as they say, the ultimate consumer. All right. And this is also one that I want you to go over on your own, how intermediaries create exchange efficiency. Now, I'm not going to have this on the test that you're going to have to draw a diagram, which from each point back to each point, but I do want you to read it and kind of, just look at it and understand it, because they are good diagrams that kind of help you to understand the flow of how business truly works. Like, we just think like, hey, watches just happen to grow on trees, and then they fall off the tree and they end up at Target. Well, it doesn't work like that. There are a lot of different steps involved before you, the ultimate consumer, can purchase that watch from Target. So here are the basic points about intermediaries. Marketing intermediaries can be eliminated, but their activities can't, right? So they can be eliminated, but the activities that they complete cannot. You can eliminate some wholesalers and retailers, but then consumers or someone else would have to perform the intermediary's tasks, including transporting and storing goods, finding suppliers, and establishing communication with suppliers, right? So all organizations don't want to, partake in that. So there's a reason why they're marketing intermediaries. Intermediary organizations have survived because they perform marketing functions faster and more cheaply, or more cost effectively, than others can. To maintain their competitive position in the channel, they now must adopt the latest technology, which is obviously, things having to do with the internet. Number three, intermediaries add costs to products, but these costs are usually more than offset by the value that they actually create. So if you look at this, and this is quite interesting. So distribution effect on your food dollar. So note that the farmer gets only 25 cents of your food dollar. The bulk of your money goes to intermediaries to pay distribution costs. Their biggest cost is labor, like truck drivers and clerks, followed by a warehouse and storage. So I want you to review this, and it's another great diagram to say, okay, this is where everything goes. I can't just say, oh, an apple is worth $1.25, and or that's not realistic, but let's say avocado is worth $1.25. It doesn't just come off the tree and teleport into your house, and then the $1.25 goes into my account. It doesn't work like that. I need people to pick the avocados up, take them to the store. You need to go to the store and purchase the avocado. So I don't get all the money that's involved that you give back to the store for that avocado. So be sure to check that out. Quite interesting. Some of it may be surprising to you. Utility in economics, the want, satisfying ability, or value that organizations add to goods and services, right? So the want satisfying ability. So do you have some want satisfying ability? Remember, I always talk about, if you solve someone's problem, then you have a viable company, and you'll be able to make some profits. So they have obviously different types of utility. So you have time utility. So if I'm going to add some value to you in terms of time. So adding value to products by making them available when they're needed. So right when it's needed. Fast food is available right when it's needed. You save me some time. I'm going through the McDonald's drive-through, picked up my food, on my way to work, eating my sausage McMuffin. Place utility, adding value to products by having them where people want them, right? So for instance, there's a company called Lori's Kitchen out there in Orange County, and they have products there when people want them. So at lunchtime, a guy will come up with the cooler, and he'll just drive up, and they'll be like, oh, Lori's Kitchen is outside, and he'll have all kind of prepackaged meals where people can purchase their lunch if they work for a company that doesn't have a cafeteria. Some of us are lucky enough to have a cafeteria in their workplace. The last two companies that I've worked for have had a cafeteria in the workplace, which I think is a great thing, even though I don't eat there because most stuff's not on my diet. So intermediaries also add possession utility by doing whatever is necessary to transfer ownership from one party to another, including providing credit. All right, so all kind of different ways to add value. Could be time, could be a product, could be a possession utility. Information utility, obviously a little bit different, but information is very powerful these days. So adding value to products by opening two-way flows of information between marketing participants, right? So the flow of information is very important now. You see a lot of affiliate marketing, search engine optimization, things that go on with the internet that has totally changed the way we go about doing business. And service utility is adding value by providing fast, friendly service during and after the sale, and by teaching customers how to best use products over time. So that's more like towards the mass customization where you spend more time with the customer because, hey, I'm gonna sell you this Kirby vacuum, but I need to show you how to use it and get the best use out of it. Because if you get the best use out of it, then you're going to refer that to your friends and family so they can also buy a Kirby vacuum. Be sure to go over your test prep. Be prepared for your final quizzes and your final tests that you'll have. Merchant wholesalers, independently owned firms that take title of the goods that they handle. So I take title of the goods, right? And then we go from there, as opposed to not having title, somebody else having title, and them coming in and making a purchase. So figure 15.4, you'll see a full service wholesaler. And this is what they'll do. They'll provide a sales force to sell the goods to retailers and other buyers. They'll communicate manufacturers' advertising deals and plans. They'll maintain inventory, thus reduce the level of inventory suppliers have to carry, so they don't have to carry the inventory because they will. Arrange or undertake transportation. Provide capital by paying cash or making quick payment for the goods. Provide suppliers with market information they can't afford or can't obtain themselves, right? So we have this type of information that you need. You can't afford it, you can't obtain it, but we have the ability to get it and give it to you. Undertake credit risk by granting credit to customers and absorbing any bad debts, thus relieving the suppliers of this burden. So maybe because I'm making so much money, I can absorb that bad debt, but you can't. And assume the risk for the product by taking title. The wholesaler may perform the following services for customers, right? So I want you to read this, but just number one. So for instance, buy goods the end market will desire and then make them available for customers, right? So I know what people desire. I'm going to buy a bunch of them and then I'm going to make them available. But I want you to read, 2 through 6 on your own. And these are just, you've seen these things happen, but you just don't pay attention and you kind of worry, how did these products get here in the store? But a rack jobber is a wholesaler that furnishes racks or shelves full of merchandise to retailers, display products, and sell on consignment, right? So I've come at this rack and it's right by where I check out at the Bonds. And it has a screwdriver, it has a flashlight, it has all these little things that maybe I say, oh, you know what, I need a screwdriver, let me just grab one, right? Those are rack jobbers. And I come back and, I'm the rack jobber, I check it out and I look at it and there are only 10 screwdrivers, but I brought 20, then you have to pay me for the 10 screwdrivers, but not full price, right? Because then you get a cut because you're allowing me to sell it in your store. I wouldn't get that sale if the people weren't in your store. Cash and carry wholesalers are wholesalers that serve mostly small retailers with a limited assortment of products. Drop shippers, a little bit different, wholesalers that solicit orders from retailers and other wholesalers and have the merchandise shipped directly from producer to buyer, right? So it goes directly from the producer straight to the buyer, right? Little bit different. If you can think about different ways and manners in which people buy things, I talk about all the time that, sometimes I may buy too many things from, like Home Shopping Network or off an infomercial, but those things are shipped directly to me. I don't have to have them there. I don't have to go to Target to pick it up. They're things that are shipped directly to my house. I want you to read on your own the types of retail stores. I'm sure some of you shopaholics are very familiar, but it gives you, for instance, I'll just give you, the first one as an example. A department store description sells a wide variety of products, clothes, furniture, houseware, and separate departments. Examples of those are Sears, JCPenney's, and Nordstrom's. All three still going strong. Discount store sells many different products at prices generally below those of department stores, which is Walmart and Target, and those are the two. Kmart's not kicking it right now. Zodi's is long gone. So I want you to be sure to look at the different types of retail stores. Understand that these are retail stores. Look at the description, read the description, and look at the example. After you read that chart, which doesn't take long, it's in a very user-friendly manner. When you read that chart, you will know and understand who falls into what category or who falls into what bucket. Intensive, selective, and exclusive distribution, right? So now you're talking about how you distribute your product and or service. So intensive distribution, distribution that puts products into as many retail outlets as possible. So intensive, boom, it's intense. I'm throwing it out to everybody. Sell, sell, sell. Selective distribution, distribution that sends products to only a preferred group of retailers in an area. So I say, you know what, I don't want everybody selling my product. I only want you 1, 2, 3, 4, establishments selling my product. An exclusive distribution that sends products to only one retail outlet in a given geographic area. So if you guys remember, if any of you guys have an iPhone, you remember that at one point in time, AT&T was the only service provider that could offer an iPhone, and then eventually it opened up to all the others. I want you to be sure to read Adapting to Change, Trucking On with Social Media. So many things are contingent upon, being favorable on social media these days, because people, we were going somewhere to eat, my team the other day after we got done with our volunteer day, and the first thing everybody did was like, I'm going to check it out on Yelp and I'm going to see how the restaurant is. Be sure to review the test prep as always. It will help you and assist you on the quizzes, and not even just on the quizzes, for your own edification and your general knowledge. Electronic retailing, selling goods and services to ultimate consumers, which is you and me, over the internet. Also, electronic retailing is also called e-commerce. Just name the different ways in different books. But electronic retailing, like, hey, you go online, you can make that purchase. I would rather purchase things online than go to the actual store. Social commerce, which is also very important. A form of electronic commerce that involves using social media, online media that supports social interaction and uses a user contribution to assist in the online buying and selling of products and services, right? So all wrapped around and closely tied to social media. So these are types of social commerce. I want you guys to review this on your own, but you have peer-to-peer sales platforms. You have social network-driven sales, group buying, so like Groupon, Living Social, things like that. Some of you guys have these things, but you didn't know like necessarily how they were classified and where the ideas came from. Peer recommendations, right? Remember I talked about Yelp. So once you go through all of these, and they're very interesting. So I need for you to grasp these 7 terms. So be sure to take a pause right there, read through those 7, know them, understand them, because they'll be very beneficial for you in the present with the quizzes and the tests, and then also in the future, because those things will register in your brain, especially if you're someone who wants to open up a business of your own. Telemarketing is the sale of goods and services by telephone, obviously, because of the laws. Recently, those they're not able to do as much as far as telemarketing, but they are still able to call you. And some of us don't really like the telemarketers. Some people like to talk to them. It's a varied experience, but they're still there, and they're there for a reason, because they are making some type of sales. Direct selling, I did this at one time myself, selling to consumers in their homes or where they work. I did business to business, and I also did door-to-door sales, 100% commission. As I like to tell everybody, it's the best, worst job that I ever had, because I learned so much from it, in terms of feedback, in terms of attitude, in terms of managing yourself and managing others. Just a great experience. So be sure to understand those terms. Direct marketing, any activity that directly links manufacturers or intermediaries with the ultimate consumer, right? So that's just direct marketing. So for instance, you have a small business, and your business opens up, you're working with the SBA, and you get a packet in the mail, and it gives you all these different things. Hey, do your payroll here. Hey, do your this there. You do your banking here. Right, so you have all these direct marketing campaigns, and they're directly marketed to you for a reason. It's because it's something that you looked up, or something that you did prompted that to come up. So for instance, I was looking at a treadmill, and now every time when I log on to Google, Yahoo, whatever, I see all these banner ads for this treadmill, because they saw I got kind of in depth about it. So they're going to pop that treadmill every single place where they can get, whether it's on my phone, computer, laptop, wherever I am. But I know how that works, so I can definitely tune it out. All right, so these I want you to review on your own: corporate distribution system, contractual distribution system, administered distribution system, and supply chain. Well, actually, I'm going to go over supply chain. So the sequence of linked activities that must be performed by various organizations to move goods from the sources of raw materials to ultimate consumers. So it goes from raw materials to work in process to finally to finished goods. Then when it's sold, it becomes cost of goods sold, things that you should have learned in your accounting class if you've already taken it. And then when the cost of goods sold That's, how much did it take for me money wise? Did it take for me to make this laptop? It took me $300. I sold it for $500, got a $200 markup. You as a consumer bought it for $500. Right. So as we move along, and this is supply chain, so supplier plants, right? Obviously, starts with them, manufacturers, wholesalers, retailers, and then ultimately to the consumer. And it's the channel of distribution, which is right there. But this entire diagram is the actual supply chain. All right, be sure, as always, reaching beyond our borders. Read weak links that can break a chain. Always interesting stories. I haven't seen a dud in here yet, so be sure to check those out. So I want you to review all the different types of logistics that are listed here, but logistics in itself is a marketing activity that involves planning, implementing, and controlling the physical flow of materials, final goods, and related information from points of origin to points of consumption to meet customer requirements at a profit, right? So best places you can look at, like Amazon, look at their fulfillment centers. So you look at different types of logistics and just-in-time inventory. Great videos out there on YouTube about the topic. But on your own, be sure to go over inbound logistics, materials handling, outbound logistics, and reverse logistics. Obviously, things that have to be done and handled in-house, and some things that have to be done and handled logistics-wise on the road, dealing with truckers, dealing with storage, things of that nature. Be sure to read this, great example. How do you move heavy raw materials like timber from one country to another, right? You have to think about these things. Things just don't pop up. Like, what if it's a country that just doesn't have a lot of timber? How do they get that shipped in, and where does it come from? Comparing transportation modes, I want you to read that on your own as well. Not read it, but understand the diagram. And obviously, when you look at these, always go this way, go all the way from left to right, and then come back and do it. So, for instance, the mode is the railroads. The cost is medium, not that much. Speed is slow, so things are not going to get there very quickly. On time and dependability, it's medium. Flexibility handling products is high. Frequency of shipments is low, and the reach is high, right? So everything varies. Everything has its good strong points and also its weak points. So you want to see those. So as far as cost, the trucks are high cost, but the speed is fast. On-time dependability is high. Flexibility is medium. Frequency of shipments is high, and the reach is the highest, right? So a lot of this is common sense, but sometimes you have to read through it to know and kind of understand what type of options companies have, and you may have if you open up your own company or currently already have your own company. Freight forwarder, it's an organization that puts many small shipments together to create a single large shipment that can be transported cost effectively to the final destination, right? So we're going to put all these different, we're trying to, the plane's going to California. And we have all of these bikes, but they come different orders or whatever. So we're going to put all the bikes on the same plane, and then we're going to ship them over. And obviously, we'll get a better rate than shipping 5 here, 10 here, 20 there. Right. So you have to know, in numbers, there will come discounts, and that's something that we should all know and understand. I'll skip intermodal shipping, storage function, right? So that's a big thing. Are you storing goods? I used to work in a warehouse way back in the day. We would unload these trucks, put them on the pallet, stack them up however high they were supposed to be stacked, shrink wrap them, put them on a forklift, and stick them up there in the warehouse. And we were holding those products until they were required by the store. So storage becomes an issue as well. Be sure to go over the test prep as always. Good just follow up whether all the questions are on the quiz or the test or not. It's good for it to be there. So that's it for chapter 15. Be sure to go through your summary. There's in this Understanding Business book, the summary is great. Will definitely help you to learn and expand your knowledge and clear up any gaps that I may have left as we've swung through the chapter. So just one more chapter to go, chapter 16. You should be happy. So be sure to take your quiz, review the chapter, review the supplemental videos, complete your assignments, and that should be it for the week as we go into this holiday season. So I want to tell all of you guys, as always, have a good day and a great week, and continue to do well and excel in your course.